Starting off, the game starts with the main menu GUI, and each button highlights when hovered over to show which button is being interacted with at the time. The player begins with a prompt to explore the warehouse, but then falls through a white fracture falling into a storage room. Text prompts show that the brown boxes can be smashed and the green boxes can be moved, as well as interacted with, and the player must first find and grab the key before the door will open, which is also shown through the text prompt. The player is then given the first glimpse into the Hunter NPC, but in a safe environment where it's trapped inside of a door, allowing the player to get a bit more comfortable before they face the main challenges. After opening the door, the player sees two zombies which they can shoot, however they can also see them ragdoll after coming into contact with the yellow flooring, which, given the prompts and colour, can tell that it is electrocuted water caused by the generators. The player should remember that the green objects can be moved from the starting room, and can then use that to clear the gap, where they can then interact with the generators, which will cause green lights to flicker, allowing the door to be open. Upon entering the room, the player is greeted with a servant NPC and a text prompt informing them that the follower is on the second floor and to head there, after which the player will go through the open door into 3 hunters, ramping up the danger. Entering the larger storage room, the player gets trapped as the floor above caved in, and must then move large boxes to fill in the holes in the ground as guided by the prompts to reach the other side. Looking left, the player sees a forklift, but it has no power, and they must fight progressing right, going through more hunters in an enclosed environment, adding to the danger again. After which, the player must use boxes to reach up and climb to the second floor, using their prior knowledge that they learnt for the other rooms. Upon reaching the next floor, the player can see an injured follower in need of a medkit and a battery, and notice the medkit through the hole in the wall. After which, the player must navigate back through the warehouse to go back to the forklift in order to gain access to the other side, where the medkit was, using the charge from the battery in order to reach the new height before it goes back down. The prompt for the forklift then changes to inform the player that the follower is needed in order to keep progressing, as the forklift is set to no longer run without them. Once they have to return to the follower, they have to hand over the medkit in order to progress, changing the prompt and giving the player the controls in order to have the follower follow them. After doing so, they have to progress back to the other side, where they just came from, back up the forklift, in order to go out the room where the floor had collapsed to get back to the start. After re-entering the break room of sorts, the player sees a new prompt from the servant NPC giving them the controls for the servant, and must then move the vending machine out of the way of the door in order to progress. The door will not be able to open straight away, and needs each NPC to be within the area in order to progress, as a key will be handed over. After climbing the stairs, another prompt is given on the wall representing a new mechanic, which will allow the player to be boosted up to higher up places as long as the servant is within a set area. This area is represented by a bright blue in order to contrast it with the background. Upon grabbing the crane pickup, the player must then follow the other prompts, which require a heavy object to be set in a certain location in order to be picked up by the crane. This will then be used to smash down the wall blocking the current exit. So the player will have to use the crane in order to pick up and rotate the pickup. And then from this point onwards, the NPCs will not follow you. Once the walls collapse, the player can see that parts of the wall have collapsed the flooring, just like how they did at the start of the game, and must navigate through the stronger flooring and avoiding the weak flooring to make sure that they don't fall through. And to avoid that being a losing condition, there is a way to get back into the staircase. Climbing the final set of stairs, the player reaches the last room, in which they must move the crane pickers up onto the loading area and guide them using the crane in order to put them into the loading bay, where they would be moved into different conveyor belts within the game. The prompt given also shows that the player must use all 3 pickups in order to progress to the end, using another mechanic of the crane to place and drop items. The player must use each one of the crane's controls in order to do this process, and after each of the 3 cranes have been loaded in, a final prompt will be given, which is made to heighten the danger, as the infected have jammed a door shut, meaning the player, in order to continue, must hop on the conveyor belt in order to escape, as multiple hunters will then be chasing him towards the end, which I'll let play out now.